Okay, guys, here we go. More homework. This is factoring quadratics intro. This is a big deal in Algebra 1. It is a huge deal as you get into Algebra 2. The teachers are all going to be like, can you factor? And this is one of those things that I know pretty much was left out of Algebra 1 last year with the way we bailed out on COVID. So this is a big deal. It's probably new to most of you, but we're going to go through it and we're going to talk about how it works. And hopefully with a little practice, you'll get the hang of it. It's really not that bad if you just understand where everything came from. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back and we're going to talk about how to do this. And you really can, if you think about this, you can do this in the way that the book taught you kind of a visual way. If you remember, they talked about if I'm going to multiply binomials, then really I have these squares, okay? And this square has to be an x squared, and this square has to be 24. Now these two squares, we really don't know what they are yet. We know that they have to combine to give me 10x. Okay, well, let's think about what has to happen here. Well, then, to get x squared, that one's easy. This has to be x and x. So this has got to factor into x times x. That one seems pretty straightforward. Now, what are these? Well, they have to multiply to give me 24, but there's some real options here. You can have 1 times 24, you can have 2 times 12, you can have 3 times 8, you can have 4 times 6. There's really a lot of options. So I just don't know exactly which one it is. Well, the key is right here. These two boxes have to add to 10x. Well, whatever's in this box is this number times x, and whatever's in this box is this number times x. Well, then I need two numbers here that add up to 10. Well, if I did 1 and 24, that would add up to 25. If I did 2 and 12, that would add up to 14. If I did 3 and 8, that would add up to 11. But if I did 4 and 6, that would indeed add up to 10. So if I made this plus 4 and plus 6, then this is 4x, this is 6x, and those add to 10x. So my answer must be x plus 4 times x plus 6. X plus 4 times x plus 6. All right, so now, see, this time they help us out because they go ahead and do it using the area idea. Now, they didn't quite draw it the way I would have, okay? They didn't say, hey, why didn't they do it the way I'm not sure why they didn't draw it the way that they set it up, okay? So again, we're talking about splitting this like this. This has to be x squared. This has to be 30. Well, clearly we're dealing with x and x. So again, we must have an x and an x. That's no doubt. Now, one of them they told us that this one up here is minus 5. Okay, so if that's the case, well then this would have to be negative 5x. Now, what times negative 5 gives me positive 30? That's going to be here. Well, that would have to make this be minus 6. And sure enough, that's negative 6x. And those add up to give me the negative 11x. So we know that the missing piece was x minus 6. Next one, again, we're doing the same idea. We're just trying to figure out how this thing breaks apart, where it started. So from the area model, wow, that was horrible. Let me erase that. Okay, from the area model, like this. We got our 2, we know we're doing binomials. This has to be x squared, this has to be negative 10. That means that's x and x. We're multiplying to get 10. Now, we're multiplying specifically to get negative 10. So that's 1 and negative 10, or negative 1 and positive 10. That's 2 and negative 5, or negative 2 and positive 5. Those are how we multiply to get 10. Now, whenever we put them in here, they have to combine to give me negative 3. Well, 1 and negative 10 gives me negative 9. Negative 1 and positive 10 gives me positive 9. 2 and negative 5 gives me negative 3. There we go. So this has to be plus 2, and this has to be minus 5, so that this becomes a negative 5x. This becomes a positive 2x, and I get everything I want. So I get x plus 2 times x minus 5. Last one, and they're doing this one again, where they're giving it to a semi in the area form, but we got to figure out what the missing pieces are. Again, I would have preferred if they would have drawn it like this, and they would have said, okay, this is x squared, this is negative 12. Hey, that means this is x and this is x. They even told me this was plus 2. Well, what am I multiplying by 2 by to make it negative 12? I'm making it negative 6. That makes this negative 6x, this positive 2x, and yes, those add to give me negative 4x. So my width here is x minus 6. I really hope the area model helps you visualize this. Again, always ask questions. I think the next one's even a little bit harder. We'll find out when we get there.